And I say this every year. I say it at the expo. I say this on stages in front of people. I say it on this podcast, and I'll continue to say it until I no longer do a podcast. Where there's a lot of other analysts that really disagree with me. Analysts I respect. They say never draft the young tight ends. Don't worry about tight end. Go out and trade them. Go out and trade for them. Go out and trade for them. Where my argument is like, okay, that's easy to say, but who's trading you one of the top tier tight ends? Right. Nobody, because they're a difference maker. And that's what it is. You're looking for the edge in Dynasty. I've said it 1,000 times, so here's 1,001. Difference maker. Dynasty leagues are 5 years, 6 years in. You get the top-heavy teams, you get the middle-of-the-road teams, you get the bottom teams, and those are the tiers. And the top teams are really good, and you need to get that edge on them. You need to compete with the guys that do have Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ Hockenson. So I'm all about grabbing these young tight ends. I'm grabbing guys with upside. I'm willing to slightly overpay for guys like Greg Dulcich, right? Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, that has the potential. Just give me the potential to get into that top 5. Because that's what I want. And if you see a lot of my Dynasty rosters, I have those guys. Like, I have those top 5 guys because I put such an effort into obtaining those guys because I want that edge. And it helps you, when you get in those playoffs, when the difference is a point or two, that's where it comes into effect where, hey, this guy's scoring 7 points, but your guy's scoring 10 points. So even though it doesn't seem like a lot, it's a huge difference between being tight end 4 to 5 when you're averaging about 10.4 points per game to averaging about 8.4 points per game. That's the difference between winning and losing over your league mates. And to have those guys means you have a difference maker. And that's what we're looking for in Dynasty Fantasy Football to fill out our starting roster. Difference maker. And it's why I draft so many of them in the rookie drafts just for the shot and the win. Like you mentioned, like a Luke Schoonmaker, right? Mm-hmm. What a great ad in the 3rd round of your rookie draft. Just on the opportunity alone with the draft capital in a position like, hey, he could be Dalton Schultz. And maybe it's only a 2-year window there, possibly for some of these guys, or they come in like Tyler Higbee. Maybe this is the last year to have that. That's fine. That's fine because I'm looking for my one window to win. Like these windows of opportunity to win your Dynasty Fantasy Football championship, they're not usually very long or large because of injuries and everything's going to happen in trades. There's so much that goes into it. It doesn't matter how good your team looks on paper in June or August. All that matters is really where you're at in November, right? Mm-hmm. That's where it matters. So that's where you need the depth. That's where you need the difference makers and go out and to find them. That's why we do shows like this now in early June to kind of find those guys at ADP now because this is a much easier time to make trade where value is because you're not in season and there's no proof in the pudding. You're not saying, hey, this guy is tight end number 5 overall. You got to give me this. And you're like, yeah, you're right. I kind of do. So I like the buys. I like the sells. I like the value. There's other names out there. Like we mentioned, Greg Dulcich. Juwan Johnson's an interesting player coming up there. So you mentioned even a guy like Trey McBride, the former John Mackey winner out there for Arizona. With uncertainty of Zach Ertz, what can happen out there for him as well. So obviously Chig Okonkwo is another dynasty darling. Yep. But like I have no problem overpaying for a guy like, and by overpay, I'll say I'm not going out there giving a first, right? But like, hey, here's a second and a player. Right. Here's a player that is a little bit older in the tooth, but can I get a Chig? Can I get a Dulcich? Right? Can I get a Kincaid? Can I get a Sam Laporta? Those are like some of my main guys. Even like a Mike Gesicki. Like I know I talked about him last year. I know he only signed that 1-year deal in New England, but he signed for about $10 million. And there's not a lot of weapons out there for the New England passer, Mac Jones. And bringing Bill O'Brien into that offense will make a massive difference for them going into 2023 when they had a defensive coordinator calling that offense. So a guy like Mike Gesicki, who's playing on a 1-year deal, trying to get that big contract, whether it be from the Patriots or somebody else, is another high upside player because, again, target share. I don't want to bring up Mike Gesicki before because I've said buy Mike Gesicki for 2 years now, anticipating that he'd go sign with somebody like the Chiefs or the Chargers. He did not. But now being on that 1-year deal, Garrett, that's still like
telling me there's a chance.
It could be anywhere. And if he does really good, then he gets franchise tagged, and then he's still the number 1 option there. Right. And I think Mike Gesicki has a real good chance to be the number 1 target for a guy like Mac Jones with his athleticism and his size in that offense. So if Mike Gesicki came out and he was the Tyler Biggins this year and top 6 tight end, that wouldn't shock me whatsoever. And you're talking ADP value, somebody who has absolutely plummeted almost off the face of the earth behind every guy we mentioned, it's Mike Gesicki.